It was a bustling evening at my restaurant, the air thick with the hum of chatter and clinking glasses. The holiday season had brought in a flood of reservations, and every table was occupied. Suddenly, the entrance doors swung open with a dramatic force, and in marched a group of 6 women, led by a woman who exuded an air of entitlement. She was Karen, the self-proclaimed queen bee, flanked by her giggling entourage. Without a hint of hesitation, she strutted up to me, her heels clicking sharply against the floor, and declared, "We need the VIP table. I know the owner, and he always keeps a table reserved for special guests like us." Her tone was dripping with confidence, as if she owned the place. The problem? I am the owner, and I had never seen this woman in my life. My mind raced as I weighed my options. The restaurant was packed, and turning her away could lead to a scene. But giving in to her demands felt like a betrayal of everything my family had built over generations. The tension in the air was palpable as I forced a polite smile and decided to play along, curious to see how far she would take the charade. Little did I know, this encounter would spiral into a night of chaos and retribution. As Karen stood there, her eyes piercing through me with an unsettling mix of arrogance and impatience, I felt a surge of conflicting emotions. Here I was, the owner of this establishment, dressed in a simple waiter's uniform, and she had no idea who I truly was. The audacity of her claim that she knew me personally was both infuriating and amusing. I could have shut her down right then and there, revealing my identity and embarrassing her in front of her friends. But something inside me snapped. The way she looked down on me as if I were beneath her ignited a spark of defiance. I decided to play along to see how far she would take this charade. With a polite smile, I nodded and said, "Of course, ma'am. Please follow me." I led them to the VIP table, a luxurious spot usually reserved for celebrities and high-profile guests. The irony was delicious. They had no idea this table came with a price tag that could make their jaws drop. As they settled in, Karen flashed a smug grin at her friends, clearly proud of her connections. Little did she know, this was the beginning of a night she would never forget. I handed them the exclusive VIP menu, its prices conspicuously absent, and offered them 3 rounds of complimentary drinks. The trap was set, and I could already feel the tension building. This was no longer just about table, it was about teaching her a lesson she desperately needed. As the night progressed, the group's behavior grew increasingly unbearable. Karen and her friends, emboldened by the free drinks and the illusion of superiority, began to treat me with blatant disrespect. Their laughter was sharp and mocking, their comments dripping with condescension. One of the girls, a younger version of Karen with the same entitled smirk, leaned back in her chair and asked, "So, do you ever feel like your life is pointless? I mean, all you do is serve people like us. Isn't that, the worst?" Her words hung in the air like a slap, and for a moment I was stunned. The sheer audacity of her question, the complete lack of empathy, was staggering. I forced a tight smile, my hands gripping the tray a little tighter, and replied, "I enjoy making people's evenings special." But inside I was seething. Their cruelty was a stark reminder of why I had chosen to teach them this lesson in the first place. As I walked away, I overheard one of them whisper, "He's cute, but I'd never date a waiter." What a loser! The comment stung, but it also fueled my resolve. These women, so consumed by their own self-importance, had no idea who they were dealing with. The night was far from over, and neither was their reckoning. As the night wore on, my plan began to unfold with precision. Karen and her friends, already tipsy from the 3 rounds of complimentary drinks, were in high spirits, completely oblivious to the storm brewing around them. They ordered with reckless abandon, their laughter growing louder with each passing moment. The VIP menu, with its unlisted prices, was a masterpiece of subtlety. They indulged in black caviar, imported oysters, and white truffle dishes, each bite more extravagant than the last. The irony was almost poetic. They were dining like royalty, yet treating the staff like dirt. I watched from a distance, my jaw tightening as they continued to mock and belittle me, unaware that their night of luxury was about to come crashing down. The moment of reckoning was approaching, and I couldn't help but feel a twisted sense of satisfaction. They had walked into my restaurant, demanding respect they hadn't earned, and now they were about to pay the price literally. The bill, when it finally arrived, would be a wake-up call they'd never forget. As the night drew to a close, the moment of truth arrived. I approached Karen's table with the bill in hand, my expression calm, but my heart racing with anticipation. The total was a staggering $4,000, a figure that would make anyone's blood run cold. I placed the bill delicately in front of her, watching as her smug confidence dissolved into sheer panic. Her eyes widened, scanning the numbers over and over as if hoping they would somehow change. This has to be a mistake, she stammered, her voice trembling. Her friends, now silent and pale, exchanged nervous glances. Corinne's composure shattered as she turned to me, desperation creeping into her tone. You need to fix this right now. I know the owner hear about this. She snapped, her voice rising with each word. I leaned in slightly, my voice steady but firm. Ma'am, I am the owner, I said, revealing my identity for the first time. Her face went white, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. The room seemed to freeze as the weight of her lies and entitlement came crashing down. She tried to backtrack, claiming it was all a misunderstanding, but I stood my ground. You demanded the VIP experience, and you got it. The bill is correct, and it's non-negotiable. Her tears flowed freely now, a mix of anger and humiliation, as her friends scrambled to offer whatever cash they had. It was a moment of poetic justice, one she would never forget. The aftermath of that fateful night was nothing short of dramatic. Karen, now visibly shaken and humiliated, had no choice but to pay the exorbitant bill. With trembling hands, she handed over her credit card, her friends hastily pulling together whatever cash they had to help cover the cost. The once boisterous group left in silence, their heads hung low, a stark contrast to their earlier arrogance. But the story didn't end there. 2 days later, a man stormed into my restaurant, his face red with fury. It was Corinne's father, demanding an explanation for what he called an outrageous scam. I remained calm, inviting him into my office where I played back the security footage from that night. The high-quality audio captured every condescending remark, every mocking laugh, and every entitled demand Corinne and her friends had made. As the video played, his anger shifted, no longer directed at me, but at his daughter. I can't believe she would act like this, he muttered, his voice a mix of disappointment and rage. Without another word, he stormed out, dragging a tearful Corinne behind him. I never heard from them again, but the framed bill on my desk serves as a reminder of that night. It wasn't just about the money. It was about teaching a lesson in humility and respect. For me, it was a satisfying conclusion to a chaotic chapter, one that reinforced the values my family had built this restaurant on. Karen and her friends may have learned the hard way, but sometimes that's the only way some people learn. The story of Karen and our group's night at my restaurant is more than just a tale of revenge. It's a reflection of deeper societal issues and a reminder of the importance of respect, humility, and accountability. Corinne's entitlement and her friends' condescending behavior toward me, a mere waiter in their eyes, highlighted a troubling mindset, the belief that certain jobs or roles are inferior. This attitude is not only demeaning but also fundamentally flawed. Every job, whether it's serving tables, cleaning floors, or running a business, holds value and deserves respect. The moment one of the girls asked if I felt my life was meaningless because I was a server was a turning point. It wasn't just an insult. It was a window into a worldview that prioritizes status over character. This story serves as a stark reminder that no one should be judged or belittled based on their occupation. Everyone has a story and everyone deserves dignity. From an ethical standpoint, some might argue that my actions were harsh or even petty. After all, I could have simply revealed my identity up front and refused Corinne's demands. But her behavior lying about knowing me, belittling my staff, and attempting to manipulate her way into a VIP table demanded a response. By allowing her to experience the consequences of her actions, I hoped to teach her a lesson she wouldn't soon forget. Was it extreme? Perhaps. But sometimes people only learn through discomfort. The fact that her father, upon seeing the security footage, turned his anger toward her rather than me suggests that even he recognized her behavior was unacceptable. In the end, the framed bill on my desk isn't just a trophy of victory. It's a symbol of accountability. However, the story also raises important questions about privacy. The use of high-quality audio recordings in the VIP section, while justified in this context, could be seen as invasive. Customers might feel uneasy knowing their conversations are being recorded, even if it's for security purposes. This aspect of the story serves as a cautionary note for businesses. While it's essential to protect your establishment, it's equally important to balance security with respect for privacy. Transparency about surveillance practices can help build trust with customers. In the end, this experience is a lesson for everyone involved. For Karen and her friends, it was a lesson in humility and respect. For me, it reinforced the values my family instilled in this restaurant: integrity, hard work, and treating everyone with dignity. And for anyone reading this story, it's a reminder that actions have consequences and no one is above accountability.